Aren't we living in the Kali Yuga? This was a question I got from one of my followers, Chayote420 or Coyote420 with a CH at the beginning. Thank you very much for that question. Excellent one. It deserves a thoughtful answer, so let's get into it. The idea of yugas goes all the way back to the Vedas, which are some of the oldest religious texts ever written, in which they talk about these unfathomably long periods of time, and they talk about a cycle of 4 yugas, each one shorter by 1/4 and more spiritually and morally degenerate than the previous. And the idea of yugas entered the New Age milieu and thus into Western consciousness largely through this woman, Madame Blavatsky, a 19th century Russian mystic who has had a profound effect on the New Age movement and who believed that we were living in the Kali Yuga, the last of the 4 yugas, and of course the most spiritually and morally degenerate. And I should say before proceeding that the Kali in Kali Yuga does not refer to the goddess Kali, the goddess of destruction and death, but rather a demon Kali who is associated with bars and casinos and bordellos and houses of ill repute. Now, thanks largely to Blavatsky, the idea that we're living in the Kali Yuga has become very popular among New Agers. In fact, I myself, in my first book, The 4 Global Truths, suggested as much. What I didn't know at the time of my writing is that the idea that we're living in the Kali Yuga is not only popular among New Agers, but among fascists. Yes, real fascists. One example is this guy, Julius Evola, an Italian occultist and philosopher who was a big fan of LSD and of Hitler. He called himself a super fascist and espoused a philosophy called traditionalism that, as you can imagine, had everything to do with patriarchy, male power, male virility, and things like that, and incidentally is very popular with Steve Bannon and other members of the alt-right. Another fascist who believed we were living in the Kali Yuga was this woman, Savitri Devi, who was born Maximiana Julius Portus in France, but she moved to India in order to search for the original Aryans. She became a spy during World War II for the Axis powers and espoused the idea that Hitler was an incarnation of Vishnu, which is to say a god. So Savitri Devi and Julius Evola and other fascists believed that in order to end the Kali Yuga and bring forth a new age of beauty and harmony, we had to purge the world of undesirables like Jews, people of color, homosexuals, and so forth. All of which is to say, the idea that we're living in the Kali Yuga is obviously a very problematic idea. Whether we are actually living in the Kali Yuga or not is anybody's guess. It's a mythological construct.